Well, now that you're retired, maybe now's the time to think of developing a new skill. No, it's not. What? No, it's not. Yes, I think you'll find it is. No, it's not. Why not? They're all old. What do you mean they're all old? They are. You can't say that. They're my viewers. Really? Yes. Anyway, why are you talking with that silly voice? You sound really ineffectual. You don't want to sound more manly, more monster-like. All right, like this. That's better. Okay. Right. Sorry about that. Yeah, maybe now's the time for you to start a new skill. No, it's not. Yeah, we've been through that bit. Thank you very much. Welcome to Grey Matters. Hello and welcome to Grey Matters, the channel that promotes the fact the older generation still matters and looks at issues that matter to the older generation. And you may notice he's gone, thankfully. Now, I'm not suggesting that you seriously take up ventriloquism. I mean, I'm not particularly good at it at all, but it's a really good trick to entertain the grandchildren. I started doing it for my children. I still do it for my grandchildren. And when you're reading a bedtime story, to have one of their toys come to life and interrupt and make a fool of you while you're talking or while you're reading, the kids love it. And it really doesn't matter if you can't ventrilo, whatever the word is, because if your lips move, it doesn't matter. The children are either going to be focused on the book or focused on the puppet. And it really doesn't matter if when you say, once upon a time, and he says, "Oh, what do you think you're doing?" They won't see that. They'll see that. So, you know, it's a fun idea and maybe one you'd like to consider. But I do want to look seriously at some skills that you can take up or learn. And they don't necessarily have to turn into hobbies. Sometimes it's just really fun and gratifying and satisfying to actually learn the skill, even if you don't really do anything with it. But the ones I'm looking at, you could, if you persevere with them, you could earn a little bit of money out of it too, as well as keeping yourself alive and interested. The obvious first one is art. Now, I've been doing art for decades, and it's only really since I retired that I started doing anything about it seriously. And yeah, I'm okay, I've got an ability and I'm using it. But my wife, on the other hand, she couldn't draw a matchstick man, and she retired a few years before me, and she decided to take a course called Drawing for the Terrified. And over the last 6 or 7 years, she's progressed from drawing a reasonable matchstick man to actually some really fantastic paintings and pictures. And she did it by doing that course and then going to YouTube and going to art clubs and things like that and learning and picking up tips from other people. And most towns have got an art club, and it really doesn't matter if you've got no ability. You can use those clubs to learn. You just got to take that first step of stepping over the threshold with a pad and a pencil and saying, "I'm here to learn." Seriously, they won't mind. But maybe your best option to start with is YouTube. There are so many courses on there and videos with information about art. If you want to draw and you've never drawn before, there's loads of videos for drawing for the beginners. If you're looking at something more advanced like watercolours, there's loads of stuff. I mean, it's full of techniques and methods for painting, from very simple to quite complicated. And you might think you don't have an artistic bone in your body. Trust me, you probably do. So, give it a look. And there are loads of, once this pandemic's over, there are loads of opportunities for socialising and expanding your friends and acquaintances just by going to an art club. So give that serious consideration. Another creative skill you could learn is creative writing. They say everybody has a book in them, and it's true. And if you read some self-published novels, they are pretty atrocious. There are conventions to follow. It is a skill, but it's easy to learn. Again, creative writing courses online, videos about creative writing on YouTube. There's so much information out there that can get the creative juices flowing. And there's also, quite often there are creative writing clubs locally. I coordinate one in my town. We have about a dozen members, and we stretch each other. We set homework designed to stretch your imagination and your ability. And it works, and it's a really happy, friendly club, and we're all aiming for the same goal, to improve our writing skills. Now, I've actually self-published, I have to say, 3 books that have done quite well online, selling through Amazon. The reviews are very good, and it wasn't easy to start with. My first novel, which was that one, compared to my last novel, which is that one, the writing has improved dramatically. And it's all through learning, speaking to authors, going on forums, finding out the tips and tricks. And you don't even have to write with a view to getting published, just getting it down. And the older you are, I think the more important it is, particularly if you're looking at your life. So few of us actually write down what happens to us, and when we're gone, the history's gone too. So I really would encourage you to look at getting it down, and if you can do it creatively, it's much more satisfying. And do get your grandkids to ask you about your life, because they need to know. Okay, they really do. So creative writing is a really satisfying way forward. And yeah. Photography is another area. Again, YouTube, full of videos giving you hints and tips and instruction, taking you around the cameras, how to learn what the cameras do. There are photography clubs everywhere. And now that we're in lockdown, they're still operating because it can all be done remotely. You can have your challenges set. You can go out and do your photography while you're out on your exercise. And there's nothing more gratifying, really, than taking a nice photograph and then having people say how good it is. It really gives you a boost. But have a look at some of the information on YouTube. I know I bang on about YouTube, but as a resource for education, it is fantastic. You might consider pottery. Now, there's a program out at the moment called the Great Pottery Throwdown that has sparked a huge interest in pottery. And again, you will find local courses in it, local clubs where you can do it, and they're still operating remotely, where you can go throw your pot, as it were, and get it fired and everything, but with no one else around. You do it presumably by appointment. And that is a skill that gives a huge amount of satisfaction, as well as being very tactile. So give that some serious thought too. The last thing we want to do as retirees is to stagnate, and particularly during the lockdown, it's very easy to do that because we can't really go anywhere or do anything. Once the lockdown is over, I would recommend also that you look at the U3A. It's the University of the Third Age. Sounds very hippie, I know, but it's about older people and keeping those horizons wide. They have lots of visiting talks and lecturers and loads of groups within each U3A group that concentrates on different things, which could be art, it could be genealogy, it could be photography, it could be anything like that. So a great resource. Membership isn't that expensive for the year, and there are lots of these groups around the country. So, do have a look, see if there's one in your area, go along for trial sessions, see what you think of it, meet the people. You will probably find there are people already members who you know and didn't realise they were members, so you will already have some contact, which for those of you that don't like new situations, that can be very helpful. The other thing I would highly recommend is a website called restless.co.uk. Now they have a massive resource for retired people, from volunteering to courses. And these courses are amazing. You've got everything from animals and pets, counselling, healthcare, photography. There's all sorts of massive range of courses. And at our age, counselling is probably a really good course to take. We've been there, seen it, done it. We've got the experience behind us. Why not share that experience with the right training and help people through difficult times? I think it would be a smashing thing to do. And there's also loads of opportunities for volunteering and lots of suggestions, things that will keep your mind and your brain alive. And let's face it, as we're pushing on, we need to do that. So just a few ideas really about learning new skills, and you know, a lot of them are obvious, but maybe watching this might just tip you over to actually trying something, because it really is worth it. Get those skills under your belt, maybe earn a bit of money from them, expand your horizons, get some satisfaction in your life, and maybe live longer, who knows. Thanks for joining us, and I'll see you next time on Grey Matters.